Hey everyone, Mac is back. We're going to continue the Siege of Winterfell Commander series today, and we're going to talk about Hector, Winton, Patelo, Andrea, and Russell. Alright, so let's get to it. Alright, so we're going to start with Hector, and his rage cost is 600, which is kind of right in the middle, so not too bad for the rage cost. The cooldown is 12 seconds, which is normal for the maximum basically you can get in the Siege of Winterfell. His stats or his bonuses down at the bottom there: 320% spear defense, 320% spear attack, and 120% enemy cav health reduction. That's actually not too bad because you're getting that 3 different stats on there, which is nice. The defense really isn't that great, but the 320% spear attack is perfect. The enemy cav health reduction is very good as well, so you can make sure you attack cavalry when you have them in there, and you'll do a lot of damage because you'll reduce their health significantly. Now, looking at his skill, deals skill damage to the targeted troops with a coefficient of 1600. At the same time, increases the spear defense of the commander troops by 1200% for 6 seconds. So the 1200% isn't bad because it's 1200%. It's quite significant. However, there is, once you get so much defense, it really doesn't take too much. It doesn't really help that much when you're in battle. Now, that coefficient of 1600 is actually really good. I like that coefficient. You see the other ones we've seen here have been like maybe 400 or 500 for like maybe healing, and even some other ones for attacking. But 1600 is quite significant. So if you can do skill damage, then we're going to do some really good damage. So and if you have the spear attack, you're talking the base of 130 or 320%, which is very, very good. So Hector will be very good for those spear formations. And then we'll move on to Winton. And Winton has a rage cost of 500, so that's on the lower side, so that's very good. You like that. The cooldown of 12 seconds, which is the norm. And then looking at it, he only has one bonus there, which is the cav attack of 240%, so that's not really that great. It's nice that it's actually attack, but at the same time it's really not that good for 240%. It's very you wish it was a lot higher than that for sure. Now, looking at his skill, increases the infantry defense and cavalry defense of the commander troops by 900% for 4 seconds. So initially I look at that and I see that it's defense and it's 900% for 5 seconds. So we compare that to Hector, we'll say, and I really don't think that that's very good. However, it is increasing infantry and cavalry defense. So when you look at it from that standpoint, you're actually getting 180% out of that. And then I'll look at it again. And not to confuse you, but you're not going to be probably having an infantry and cavalry together. At least I wouldn't recommend that. Maybe you do. Maybe you want an imp-cav formation or a cav-imp formation. I could understand that. But at the same time, you're probably not. So I don't really think that skill is very good. Moving on to Patelo. So he has a rage cost of 500, which is, I think pretty decent on the lower end. The cooldown, which is 12 seconds, so that's the norm. Looking at his bonuses, you have infantry attack of 320, spear attack of 320, and total health of 120. That's very, very good. I really like these commanders that have this. And he's going to be related to other commanders that we've talked about because he recovers the wounded and the commander troops every second for 5 seconds with a healing coefficient of 660. So he's pretty good for a healer you have in your lineup, and you're going to want a healer in your lineup. I'm going to go over some of those formations in future videos. So at the same time, it increases the infantry defense and spear defense for the commander troops for 300% for 5 seconds. That's not really that good. So the actual skill itself, probably not too great. It's nice to have the healing in there, but in the increasing defense, which really isn't that good at all. So we're going to move on to Andrea, and Andrea has a rage cost of 700, which is actually on the higher end, so really not that great. The cooldown is 12 seconds, so it's going to take her longer to get this off, and then longer to to get it off again simultaneously because of the cooldown is at the max. And then look at the bonuses. You're looking at a complete infantry across the board, 240%. That's very good, especially for an infantry lineup. So you're definitely going to want to put her in your infantry lineup if you have her gold, just for that reason. because she can give it a massive buff. And then you look at the the skill that she has, increases the the infantry attack and defense for 900% for 8 seconds. So that's actually really good. I like to have commanders like this in your lineup. So for like if you have an infantry, you're gonna want to put her in there just for those bonuses, and then you can actually look for a really good skill that may not actually have a really good skill that doesn't have a lot of other bonuses to help the infantry, because then that skill will do a lot of damage, which and then Andrea will be be able to help keep your troops alive as long as you possibly can. So she's a very good candidate for most formations. And then looking at Russell, who is a free-to-play, he has a 450 rage cost, which is excellent. That's one of the lowest. And then the cooldown is 12 seconds, so that's still the same. It only has cavalry attack, so it's really not that good when you break it down there. So I wouldn't be too worry about him too much in your lineups. Although if you're a free-to-play, you might want him in there. He deals skill damage to a 1500% coefficient, or 1500 coefficient. So if you look at that 1500 coefficient compared to Hector, who was 1600, so that's the comparisons you have. And as a free-to-play, that's actually not bad having the skill damage to be able to do that. But in reality, that only having the 240% is kind of limiting. But I do like the rage cost at 450, so that's very, very good as well. So this is the next 5 commanders in the series, and then next time we'll continue with more. So till next time, Mac out.